Welcome back to Sparrow's Ticker Notes. Today, we are diving into one of the most significant shifts in the history of transportation. We are talking about Uber, the future king of mobility. For years, the narrative has been dominated by hardware. People talk about the car, the sensors, and the battery, but they are missing the forest for the trees. In this deep dive, we will explore why the battle for autonomous driving isn't being fought in the factory, but in the network. From hardware wars to system wars, we are going to explain exactly why the platform always wins in the end. This is the structural shift that will define the next decade of investing. Here is our core thesis, and it is a provocative one. Tesla is an app, but Uber is the operating system. Most people look at Tesla as a tech giant, which it is. But in the ecosystem of mobility, it is a vertical product. We are moving from an era of individual car ownership to an era of mobility as a service, or MaaS. In this new world. The hardware, the vehicle itself, is becoming a commodity. Think about it. Does it matter to you who manufactured the elevator you took this morning? No. What matters is the service. Uber is the layer that manages that service, while Tesla is the machine that provides it. Systems always outscale products. Uber's first and most unassailable moat is ecosystem supremacy. We are talking about over 200 million monthly active users. This isn't just a database, it is a global habit. When autonomous vehicles finally hit the streets at scale, Uber won't have to spend a single dollar to acquire a new customer. The user base is already there. For a competitor like Tesla or Waymo to win, they have to convince you to download a new app, set up a new payment method, and change your behavior. But for the 200 million people already on Uber, there is zero learning curve. They just open the same app they've used for a decade, and suddenly, a cheaper, driverless option appears. That frictionless transition is a massive competitive advantage. Think of Uber as the Google Play Store of mobility. In the early days of smartphones, many companies tried to build their own closed-loop systems. Most failed. Why? Because developers and users flocked to the platform with the most reach. Uber is the decentralized, horizontal platform where everyone else plugs in. We are already seeing this with partners like Rivian, Lucid, and even Waymo in certain markets. These companies are hardware specialists. They realize that making a car is hard, but getting the whole world to use it is harder. By plugging into Uber's API, they get instant access to global demand. Uber doesn't need to build the best car. It just needs to be the gateway through which every car must pass. We have officially reached the Android moment of autonomous vehicles. For a long time, people thought Tesla's data was an unbeatable monopoly. But then came NVIDIA Alpamayo 1.5. This foundational model has democratized Level 4 autonomy. Just as Android allowed every phone maker to compete with the iPhone, Alpamayo allows every car maker to compete with Tesla. And here is the kicker. NVIDIA's Omniverse simulation power is now training AI 100 times faster than real-world driving. Tesla's real-world mileage advantage is fading fast because simulation can master millions of complex corner cases in a single day. When the technology becomes a commodity, the power shifts entirely to the one who owns the customer relationship. That is Uber. Tesla has road data. They know what a stop sign looks like. But Uber has something far more valuable: intention data. Uber knows where you are going before you even step out of your door. They have 15 years of data on urban flow, demand spikes, and rider behavior. They know that at 8:30 on a Monday morning, a specific neighborhood will need 50 cars, and they know exactly what those riders are willing to pay. This predictive dispatching is the true brain of the system. An autonomous vehicle is just a tool. Uber's data is the hand that guides it. This intelligence allows for much higher vehicle utilization rates, which is the only way to make the economics of robotaxis actually work in the real world. Why do I believe Tesla might eventually join the Uber network? It comes down to the efficiency trap. Managing a global fleet of millions of vehicles is a logistical nightmare. You need cleaning hubs, maintenance depots, and localized customer support in every single city. For a manufacturer like Tesla, this level of physical operation is a massive, capital-intensive burden that will bleed cash. At some point, the math will become clear. Tesla can earn higher margins by simply listing its fleet on Uber's platform than by trying to run its own competing network from scratch. In the long run, the aggregator always wins because it provides the most efficient path to the most customers. Integration is Tesla's most profitable exit strategy. Don't forget that Uber's diversified revenue is its ultimate war chest. Uber Eats is much more than a food delivery service. It is a high-frequency user magnet that keeps people inside the ecosystem every single day. In an autonomous world, this creates incredible asset utilization. A vehicle in a ride-only network sits idle for hours during off-peak times, but an Uber vehicle can switch seamlessly. It carries a passenger during the morning rush and then delivers meals or groceries during the afternoon lull. This 24/7 revenue stream allows Uber to subsidize the cost of rides, making their network cheaper and more resilient than any single-purpose competitor. Diversification isn't just a safety net, it's a weapon. The ad tech revolution is the hidden gem in Uber's valuation. Think about the captive audience. When you are a passenger in a driverless car, you are no longer focused on the road. You have 20 minutes of undivided attention. Uber is already transforming the cabin into a high-margin media hub. Because Uber knows exactly where you are going, they can show you hyper-localized ads. If you are heading to a shopping mall, your in-car screen can offer you a coupon for a store inside that mall. We are projecting billions of dollars in new, high-margin advertising profit by 2026. This ad revenue will allow Uber to lower ride prices even further, creating a price war that hardware-dependent rivals simply cannot win. Regulation is the invisible fortress that most tech analysts ignore. Autonomous driving isn't just a technical challenge, it is a political one. Uber has spent 15 years in the trenches, street fighting with city councils, taxi unions, and insurance regulators across the globe. They know the legal code of 70 different countries. They have the institutional knowledge to navigate the complex web of local permits and compliance that Silicon Valley rivals simply don't have. While a company like Tesla might struggle with federal investigations, Uber is already at the table, helping local governments write the rules for the AV era. This regulatory experience is a massive barrier to entry that you cannot replicate with AI alone. We are witnessing the final days of the era of car ownership. As autonomous technology matures, the cost per mile of calling an Uber will drop below the cost of owning and maintaining a used vehicle. For the average person living in a city, owning a car will become an expensive, unnecessary hobby. The shift to transportation as a service is a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. This isn't just about disrupting taxis. It is about capturing the entire spend of personal transportation. Uber is the primary gateway for this transition. As people give up their keys, they will reach for their phones, and the first icon they see will be Uber. The scale of this market shift is almost hard to comprehend. Let's look at the financials for 2026. This is the moment where the operating leverage play finally hits full force. For years, Uber's biggest expense was the human driver. As those drivers are phased out by autonomous partners, Uber's margins are set to skyrocket. We are moving from a low-margin, labor-intensive business to a high-margin, software-driven platform. The transformation is profound. Uber is evolving from a legendary cash burner into a high-margin cash machine with big tech-level profitability. When you factor in the ad revenue and the delivery business, you are looking at one of the most powerful financial engines in the S&P 500. This is what the market is finally starting to realize. Of course, every investment has risks. We have to be realistic. There are technological delays. Level 5 autonomy is still a massive challenge. There are fragmented regulations. Some cities may ban robotaxis altogether, and there is fierce competition from Google's Waymo, which has deep pockets and advanced sensors. However, in a race between a pure-play technology and a massive, entrenched network, historical evidence suggests the network has the edge. Uber doesn't need to win the tech race, it just needs the tech to exist. Once the technology is ready, the network effect will do the rest of the work. The risks are real, but the moat is deeper. In conclusion, hardware changes, but systems endure. We have seen this story play out in every major tech revolution over the last 40 years. The company that wins isn't the one with the best gadget, but the one that controls the interface and the customer relationship. Uber is the inevitable winner because it has the users, the data, the regulatory experience, and the diversified revenue to outlast everyone else. My final thought for this deep dive is simple. In the future of mobility, you should buy the network, not just the machine. Tesla is a brilliant innovation, but Uber is the infrastructure of the 21st century. The king of mobility has already been crowned. Disclaimer and disclosure. This presentation was created for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Stocks and other investments involve significant risk of loss. Always conduct your own thorough research and consult with a professional advisor before making any investment decisions. Please note, the author of Sparrow's ticker notes may hold long or short positions in the securities mentioned, including Uber, Tesla, and NVIDIA. This content is current as of March 2026. All rights reserved. Thank you for watching and make sure to subscribe for more deep dive ticker notes.